Have you ever had this feeling that you keep going in circles when you try to learn to code? You keep starting new tutorials, you jumping from one language to another, you maybe start to think that you might not be smart enough to learn all of this. Well, I can tell you that you are smart enough and you are not alone. Hi, my name is Evgeny and I am a software engineer who actually experienced all of this many times. I taught myself to code and several times I was quitting and coming back, but I learned from my mistakes and I will try to tell you everything I do now to learn faster and more efficiently. And even give you one secret cheat way to learn to code that I use constantly to learn new tools and languages in a matter of weeks. Stay tuned for this. So with all of this out of the way, let's just dive right in. I know how hard it is to sit down and learn something new and something as complicated and confusing as coding. But first, you need to understand a few mental blocks that prevent you from sticking to your studies, plan and actually finish it. First thing first, you have to understand that learning programming language is not enough to be a good programmer. And funny enough, learning a programming language is not the most important part of becoming a good developer. The most important part is to be great at problem solving. You can be noob at some programming language and know only basics and still be great software engineer, just by being good problem solver. So don't worry if you are now struggling with some programming language, just start with basics and keep solving problems, the rest will come. I think the second mental model is important to understand not only for learning to code, but for every hard problem you face. There is a great quote from Steve Jobs that says, "Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you." Just think about it. We are constantly afraid to go outside our comfort zone because we think that we're not smart enough or people who made it in life are smarter than you. But that is not true. People who are creating world around you, coding, thinking of new ideas, landing rovers on Mars are no smarter than you. They have more experience and practice, but so can you. If you follow some smart, famous people online, you will see that they sometimes make such dumb mistakes. And if they make them, so can you. And if they manage to achieve success, so can you as well. So, if I started over, I would try to start gradually. I would take one small knowledge and perfect it. Take notes in the process and then practice. For example, if I would want to learn JavaScript, I would start with basics like variables, loops, conditions, and then use this knowledge to actually build something, a small program. I will continue to build something and solve problems until I understood it very well. That way it would be so much easier and faster to move on to something more complicated. Also, by building something, you will face with pain points, which are solved by more complicated topics, which in turn will make it easier to learn them because you will understand the purpose of them. So my first trick is to learn faster is actually to slow down, start small, and gradually improve. I wouldn't jump to next topic until I am sure I understand the previous. I remember when I was learning programming, I constantly jumped from one topic to another, from one programming language to what I thought a better one. It was all caused by procrastination. It is more fun to start over than stick to something and perfect it. But what I didn't understand is that it takes much longer to learn if I constantly what's called switch context, means changing the main focus of my work. If you stick to one context, you are deeply invested into it and it is faster to perfect it. Humans are bad at multitasking, so start small, gradually improve and don't switch context. That brings me to another problem of learning programming. If you look around in different coding communities, the most popular question is which programming language to choose. And I'm guilty myself of asking the same question in the beginning of my journey. I jumped from Java to Objective-C to Swift to JavaScript. Because someone online said that one is better than the other. But if I would start over, I would tell myself that in the long run, programming language doesn't matter. At JP Morgan, I started as a front-end engineer with my knowledge of TypeScript and JavaScript. But since then, I learned Golang and Kotlin because I had to work with different technologies. So it doesn't matter what language you know, you will use many others. New languages will be developed and replaced your favorite, and you will have to keep up to stay relevant. Language is just a tool to solve problems. Just stick to one language, perfect it. I recently created a video about what language would be ideal to start with. If you haven't started learning, I suggest you to check it out. But if you already had started, please don't switch to anything else. Just continue your journey. When you want to learn something, the first thing you might want to do is to hop on YouTube and watch some tutorials about this topic, which is totally fine, but it also can be your enemy. Once you get familiar with the topic, just try it out yourself. If it is a programming language, try building something with it. Don't jump right to another YouTube video until you actually use the acquired knowledge on your own. Psychologist Anders Ericsson with his colleagues wrote an article called The Making of an Expert, where they showed that it doesn't matter if you're a genius or attended a good university. Without practice, you will not achieve greatness in your field of study. They specifically say there are no shortcuts. It will take you at least a decade to achieve expertise, and you will need to invest the time wisely by engaging in a deliberate practice. Practice that focuses on tasks beyond your current level of competence and comfort. You will need a well-informed coach not only to guide you through deliberate practice, but also help you to learn how to code yourself. So, you will need to practice everything you learn, and you need to do it deliberately, by focusing 100% of your attention, which defies studying by watching YouTube tutorials. Because when you do, you are not practicing, and most of the time you are not 100% focused. Watching tutorials usually feeds your sense of doing something. You just convince yourself you are learning. Why? I'm watching YouTube video about coding, so I will be proficient soon enough. Sorry to break it to you, but in reality you are procrastinating. My last secret weapon of learning fast is actually doing programming together with someone. It is called pair programming. Sometimes we're just sitting around one computer, one person is coding, driving, and another just watching and helping out. And if we work remotely, the person who drives shares the screen over the Zoom call. This proves to be the best way to learn new technologies for me. If I want to learn new programming language, I quickly learn some basics and then I pair with someone who is an expert in it. And I make sure I drive more frequently. So when you drive like this and the person just gives you advice, you are quickly getting up to speed of what is expected of you to do on the job, and not going around and learning stuff that don't matter. This way of learning helped me to learn a new programming language in a matter of 2 weeks. I wouldn't say I am proficient in it now, but I can do basic tasks for my job and understand the code base, so it is enough. You might ask, where would I find someone who would want to code with me? Well, as a matter of fact, there are a lot of different ways. First, you can find someone who is in the same position as you are and learning the same thing, be it a new framework or programming language. There are a vast amount of communities like FreeCodeCamp or any themed subreddit. Then you guys can pair and share your acquired knowledge. It will save you both some struggle. Second, and this is a better way, is to find a mentor. It could be a bit more difficult, but having a good mentor will just make your life so much easier and you're learning so much faster. For some reason, it is not common to learn to code using mentors. Everyone suggests going on your own and free route, self-made developer. But don't underestimate the power of having a great mentor. A mentor could tell you which direction to go, and most of the time it would be the most efficient direction to learn something. They can provide you some intel that you would have hard time finding online. If you are serious about learning to code, you shouldn't also be afraid to spend some money. By investing in good courses or hiring a paid mentor, you first will tell yourself that you are committed to learn, and second, you will get a better education. You can find paid mentors on websites like mentorcrease.com, which I'm not affiliate with, or simply by searching Fiverr or Upwork. So that's what I would do if I would start over. Last advice from me is you should be persistent, slow down, and don't be afraid to practice and have a slow but consistent results. Learning fast is not always a good thing, but if you use my advices you will get there faster and the quality will improve. But that's only because you will not waste your time on procrastination and going in circles, so it means you will need to apply hard work. Also, there are only a few people who are on the expert level in any programming language, so don't worry if you are not familiar with all the quirks of the language. If you know how to build basic software and you're actually fixing problems with it, then you do know how to code. But to do that, you need to build stuff and not only watch tutorials. Well, thank you for watching. I hope it was helpful for you, and I will see you in the next video.